Hello and welcome to Brian's Got Game. I'm Brian. Today I've got a game called Roll for Adventure. Roll for Adventure is a 2 to 4 player dice game by Brett J. Gilbert and Matthew Dunstan and is published by Thames and Cosmos. This is a cooperative game, so it's everyone against the board, and it's tough. Each player has their own hero and a set of dice. On your turn, you roll the dice and choose one or more of the same number to allocate to a location on the board or an enemy. You continue rolling and choosing dice until you have no more dice to place, then it's the next player's turn. There are 4 locations on the board, and each one has different requirements that need to be met in order to gain a reward. 3 of them unlock power gems, which are used to win the game, and then the 4th territory is used to gain extra dice to help. So let's check it out, and I'll show you how to defeat enemies, how to get your dice from the Vortex of Oblivion, and how to defeat the Master of Shadows in Roll for Adventure. To set up, begin by choosing whether you're going to use the A side or the B side of the boards. A side is recommended to go first, so we're going to start with that. Then build the board in the center using those 4 triangular-ish pieces and these little lock-ins. Then, at each of the 4 corners, place the following items. We've got the storage chest, the board of holding for all of the enemies, and then we've got the Vortex of Resurrection, and then you pick a difficulty of how hard your game is going to be by choosing a quest tile. So the easiest one is the Book of Magic, which only requires 5 gems, but they get all the way up to the Crown of Kings, which uses all 7 gems. And then there's 2 in between. We're going to start with the easy one, the Book of Magic. Each board has a damage track, and you lose if you get to the end of one of them. So you mark them with these cool little skulls, and I really like them. They're like a piece that Cosmos uses in a couple of their games, but they're not normal to other companies. So they're little, I don't know, they're like they're made of the same thing that dice are made out of. So they're kind of heavy. They're cool. So then on the fortress tile, that's the gray one, you place these little barrier things on each of these squares. I'll get more into that later. Then place this boundary thing right here. I'll get into that also later. Then fill the storage chest with all of the gems you're going to need to acquire during the game. So then everybody's going to get a character. There's a bunch of them. Let's see, we got 10 of them. And these are the ones the game recommends for your first game. The Healer, Fighter, Warrior, Adventurer. And they have special powers that are all once per turn on these guys. And we're going to play with these ones. I'm going to keep them off screen. Each player also receives a card with a color, and it's also a player aid, and I'm also going to keep these off screen, but each player gets a set of dice in their color, and these will be on screen. We are going to be playing a 4-player game, so there are 4 players. There are 4 extra dice right here, and these go in the dice cave. The ice cave. Well, ice dice, same thing. Then place the territory die, put it next to the board of holding. Then place the Master of Shadows reference card near the top of the board of holding. Now we will set up the enemy deck. You begin by taking out this Master of Shadows card. Talk about that also later. And you're going to take the remaining enemies. I did remove some of the more complicated ones, and it tells you to do that in the rules. And you deal the remaining enemies into 3 piles. Okay, then you take the Master of Shadows card and place it in the middle pile, then shuffle all of the piles. So then all of the cards are mixed up and the Master of Shadows is in the center of the deck somewhere. Then stack them all up so the one with the Master of Shadows in it is in the middle. Then you place that on the board of holding. You are now ready to begin. Okay, so the first player is the player who is the most heroic. That is obviously me, so I'm going to go first. And on your turn, you roll all of your dice, and then you can kind of group them. Oh, I got a full house. Anyway, so you choose one of 2 sets, and you place them on the board. So I could place all my 1s there, or I could place my 4s there. And then this works towards getting these gems that we're working on. All right, so I'm going to take these 3 and place them there. And then I continue taking my turn. I roll my remaining 2 dice. And I have another 1 and a 6. I'm going to place my 6 in the forest, and roll my last one, and I got another 6, and I'm also going to place that in the forest. So then you resolve all the boards. So we're going to start with this one. This is the desert board. After you have 3 1s on this space, one of them moves here, and the other 2 are returned to the owner. They do all have to be 1s, but they don't have to be from the same player. So let's say next round, or in a future turn, we have 3 more 1s there. One of these is going to be moved to the next part, and the other 2 are returned to the owner. Then, after that happens a 3rd time, this one's moved over, and then these are returned back to the owner. Then, one of these is removed permanently from the game, is placed on this little spot. These dice are returned back to their owner, and the players get to choose which die is removed. Then, we have this cool little gem icon, which means we get to choose a gem. Let's start with the red one, and we completed it, and we get to put it on our goal quest card. But that is in the future, and we are still stuck here. 1 is resolved, other 2 removed back to the owner. And we'll have to get this later. So in the forest area, you can only place 5s or 6s, and that's denoted on each of the spaces. One side's a 5, the other side's a 6. And you have to place them all the way up. And the first time, let's say we got all these there. Let's say he places the last 6, or they don't have to all be 6s. It could be a 5. This last one's going to be a 5. So we reach the last spot where the barrier is, so that means we get a gem to join our other non-existent gems. And this barrier moves back to the next one. So then the next time, these are all cleared, and then the next time we go through, we have to get all these plus 1 more, and then it moves, and plus 1, plus 1. It gets longer and longer each time. So I have 2 there, and these stay on there until you finish it. So at the end of every turn, you reveal the top enemy card. This one is the Crystal Spirit, and it is a gray card, so it goes to the fortress. If it goes to a spot with a die on it, it removes the die from these spots. So in the case of the fortress, you have to remove 1 die from each of the spots. However, if you don't remove any dice, then it takes damage. If you only remove 1, that's fine, you continue. So we don't have any dice to remove, so it doesn't remove any, but we take a damage. And if this reaches the end, then you all lose. So now it's the next player's turn. We roll. Man, I'm getting good at these 1s. Oh, that's a 2. I'm going to place a 3 over here on the fortress. And then I'm going to re-roll all my others. I'm going to place another 3. Got 6s and a 4. I'm going to place the 6s. That's kind of a really good move. I got 1 last die, and I rolled a 5. So I will also place that in the forest. So then you resolve them, nothing happens, nothing happens, nothing happens. Then we reveal an enemy. So when you reveal an enemy, you first compare the value with all of the other enemies still out there. This one is a 2, and it would command all the numbers lower than it, so 1s, and they would also attack. So a lot of enemies could attack at once. Then the troll goes to the ice cave. So the cave troll removes the dice with the highest value from the row. There aren't any, so we take a damage. Alright, so now it's the next guy's turn. We're really close on a couple of these. And we got lots of 2s. Well, now we're going to go for the 5. That's an easy gem right there. Roll again. And so another thing you can do with your dice is you can defeat an enemy. The thing is that you can place all the dice in the exact same way, only one group at a time, but you have to have a value of 6 to defeat an enemy. So I can place that 6 there and that would kill him. Or if I had 2 5s, that would work, 3 2s would work, and that could all kill an enemy. This character also happens to be the fighter, and once per turn, his power is you can defeat 1 enemy with a total of 4 instead. However, you must still use at least 1 die. So we're just conveniently going to use that 4. Then we continue our turn. We'll put a 1 over here. I'm trying to get 3s. 3. Those aren't 3s. Let's put a 2 on there. 3. Alright, so then I resolve, Nothing there, really close though. And then we got this one. So we got all of the things up to there. So this barrier moves back 1. We get a gem of our choice, which technically we don't have a gem yet. So I'm gonna take that red one. Forgot to put that back. Then all of the dice go back to their owners. So the fortress, in order to get a gem, you have to get all 4 from all of them. So right now we're working on the 3, and after we get that, we remove this barrier thing. Then all the dice go back, and then we can work on another one, or both of them at the same time. Once you've removed all 3 of the barriers like that, then you can retrieve a gem. So put it back. So the yellow player also killed the crystal spirit, so we'll remove him. The die goes back to them. Okay, let's do one. Oh yeah, and we take a monster. His value is 2, so that doesn't make anything attack, and this goes to the desert. So the desert attacks, and on the A side, he removes 1 from this area. So we remove that, and it goes to the Vortex of Oblivion. In order to free dice from the Vortex of Oblivion, you have to do that through the Vortex of Resurrection. You can do that by placing any die during your turn on the Vortex, and then after the value is equal to or greater than 10, then all of the dice are given back to their owners, including all the ones here. So let's do this last turn, try to remove that barrier, or we can do that. That works too. Let's do the ones. Yeah, not getting lucky here. All right, I'm gonna put this one on blue. Oh, that's the last one. Another 6. That will go there, I guess. All right, so we've gone over the desert, we've gone over the forest, and we've gone over the fortress, but we haven't gone over the ice caves yet. So you can place these on in any order, but after you receive, or there are 4 dice on there, you can decide whether you, the person who placed the last one, want to take a gray die, which is just an extra die that you can use once, and then after you use it, it goes back to the caves. Or you can continue going, and if you get 5 on there, then that means you get to kill a monster and take a die. And then if you get up to 6, then you can reset a damage all the way back to 0 and kill a monster and take a die. And then after you claim a reward, all the dice go back to their owners. So let's say after that turn, we reveal the Minotaur as our next guy. So since he's a 3, all of the other guys attack. So here, he removes 1 there. Here, he removes that 6. And he goes to the green space and removes another one. So that was pretty brutal. There is also one boss in here, and his name is the Master of Shadows. So if you reveal him, then all enemies in play attack. So that would all happen. And then you get to roll this fun die. And when you roll it, if you roll a territory, then he attacks that territory for 2. So you can remove 2 dice or you go down 2 damage. And that is true for all 4 territories. There's also a blank spot where he does nothing, and then there's also one with all 4, and he attacks all 4 for 1 damage each. Then, after that, you take his Master Shadows card and shuffle it back in the remaining cards. He can never truly be defeated. So play continues, getting all the power gems, or until you lose. That's how to play Roll for Adventure. Got my dad here for Parents' Opinion. So Dad, what did you think of Roll for Adventure?
I really liked Roll for Adventure. It's a great dice checker, and it's cooperative, so it works really good with families.
Yep. So let's jump right in for the components. It's a dice game, so there are a bunch of dice. I think there's 6 for each player plus 4 bonus ones.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Plus or minus 1 die for the players.
And there's the territory die.
Yep.
That you may use once.
Depending on how lucky or unlucky you are.
But it's really nice.
Yeah, it's got... Anyway, there's a bunch of cardboard components because you have the gems, the board of holding, the chest also of holding.
The vortex.
The vortex, and then the cool modular board that goes together that can also be flipped over.
Plus all the character tiles. Those are like
there's a bunch of them.
Thick.
Well, yeah, normal. It's nice that they're not just cards.
Well, it's thicker than a board.
Okay. And then That's pretty much it. There's cards, all the enemy cards.
And
there's
the
a bunch of
awesome
those.
skulls.
Oh yeah, the skulls.
Those are like the coolest component of all of gamedom.
Yeah, so they're little skulls, only like that big, and they're like made out of what the dice are made out of. Or
Yeah, there's also one in one of the exit games.
I like how it's there. You know how like all those games have the same tiny little gem piece? This is kind of like that, only way cooler.
Or the cube, a wooden cube.
Yeah, this is like that, only made out of
Yeah, they're
dice material.
super
and
awesome.
All right, let's move right into the artwork. So I really like the box art on the front. It's cool. It's got a die and people hanging out of it and whacking monsters and stuff.
Yeah, when I saw this one at Gamma and then we saw it again at BGG, it always drew me in. Like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I like rolling dice, and I didn't ever really learn much about it until we finally went to the booth and they showed us what it was like. And
oh yeah.
And yeah, I mean the artwork is really kind of cool. It's just very adventurous.
Oh yes.
Which goes with the theme and the title.
And then there's special art on all of the locations, and all of the characters have unique art for all of the different characters. And all the quest cards, like for the sword and for the crown and for the magic book.
Oh yeah, those do look cool.
Mm-hmm. All right. On to the strategy component. So this is a cooperative game, so that changes a little bit. There's table talk. You can kind of give advice, which could lend to a little bit of like controlling
the gamer.
Yeah, but not really. You get to choose where you put your dice.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's a dice game, so it brings in the luck element.
Yep.
To it, but
and then they're all pretty equal in getting gems. Some of them seem a little bit harder than others, but it ends up evening out.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would even call this a strategy, or if there is a strategy to it. I mean,
get gems.
Yeah, work on the ones that have the most dice on them, and roll better.
Yeah, try to return gems. That is a good thing, is that when people get their gems, then they have more gems to roll, more gems to put out.
Dice, and dice.
Oh.
You're talking about dice.
Dice, not gems. Get gems.
Yeah, it does. It's really hard when you're the guy that has all your dice locked up.
Oh, yeah.
Either in the territories or in the Vortex of Oblivion.
And you get to roll your one die.
One. In all the games that we've played, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time in the ice caves, getting that extra die, but I can see how that can help. But as soon as you use it, you lose it, and it goes back to the ice cave. So, yeah. I don't know. I guess it's nice while you have it, but then you lose it again, and it takes a while to kind of build it back up.
Yeah.
However, being able to reset one damage thing is really nice, because as you saw, when the enemies start coming out and you don't have dice there, and
they start comboing all the way through,
it can be pretty brutal, and they can kind of take you out pretty quick.
And also what's super cool is all of the boards have B sides, so then there's alternate scoring for gems and a different ice cave and all of that.
Speaking of replayability, it also comes with some different monsters. So there's like a dragon, there's giants, and a couple other things. So that's like a variant that you can add to it.
Okay.
Once you've kind of already played the A and both the B sides, and you're kind of like, okay, what else does this game have for me? You can start throwing in and mixing and matching the different enemies, and that kind of makes the game a little bit different.
All right, sweet. Easy for kids. Yeah, we played. It's a family game. It says 10 and up on the box, but it's not that hard. You roll dice and place the numbers where the numbers are.
Yeah, I think it's actually, it lends well to families just because of the luck nature of it. Also, it's cooperative. So you're not really going against, a younger player.
Yeah.
And you can kind of help them along if they need help. The only reading is the character powers, I guess. So if you find one that they really like, you just tell them how to do it, and
then they'll do it. Yeah. And then the only thing that I would caution against is that depending on what difficulty level you're playing on, that scales the game time. So if you play on the easiest one, the game is shorter than if you played with all of the gems.
Yep, that is true.
So overall, this is a really fun game. You've got all the good components, great artwork, strategy, and it's really great for family.
Yeah, if you like dice games and if you like co-ops, definitely check this one out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of replayability. And yeah, we've had a lot of fun playing it. So if that's sounds like something you definitely like or would think you would like, go check this one out.
All right, Roll for Adventure by Cosmos. Thank you for watching Brian's Got Game. Please like us on our Facebook page, send us a tweet at Brian's Got Game, visit our webpage, briansgotgame.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Brian, this is my dad, and I'll see you next time.